Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Dugout podcast and the World Cup preview series. This is the episode for Group H, which usually in the past would have been the final group of World Cup previews, the eighth group, but of course, the extra 16 teams means the extra four groups, which we've still got to preview and will be
Good
uploaded
Lord.
in the coming days. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, a lot of work to get through previewing all of these groups and all of these 48 countries, but it's been a lot of fun also learning out about all the new stories and facts. And of course, I'm joined by my usual co-host, as you can see, Alexander Crookshanks, and there he is, giving us a wave. And I think the best place to start in this group is with the European champions and a lot of people's favourites.
Viva España.
Yes, indeed, a lot of people's favourites to go all the way second ranked in the world, Spain. And we were speaking about some fun facts and ridiculous facts that don't sound true. I think one that I seen the other day was that since Spain won the World Cup in 2010, they've won just three World Cup matches, which
Wow.
sounds absolutely crazy. But yeah, so one win in each tournament since then. Obviously, been really disappointing as of late in that tournament since winning it either side of those European Championship triumphs. But it seems like a new era for Spain with a lot of new talent coming through. And of course, they've just
The
won the
best
European
the best
Championship.
player
So
in the best player in the world as well, potentially.
yeah, I would agree with that. Although, as we'll get on to, he's carrying a slight knock, so probably a doubt for the first game. Hasn't really played in any of the warm up games for the Spaniards. But we'll just go through refresh the minds of their qualifying campaign, which was absolutely excellent. They absolutely dominated their group, which was containing Turkey, Georgia, and Bulgaria. They won five of the six games, only giving up a couple of points to Turkey. They scored 21 goals across those six games, over three a game, and only conceded two. Considering two of the teams in that group were in the previous European Championship, and Georgia, of course, which Spain played, and Turkey, really decent nations. It's a very impressive looking qualifying campaign on the face of it, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Spain are just a team that sort of speak for themselves, especially in recent years. Obviously, you mentioned the European champions, and they after that sort of World Cup win in 2010 was started. Excuse me, started the era of dominance was started in 2008 with that Euros win. So this could be maybe the beginning of another international dominance for the Spaniards. They obviously went on to win the Euros, the World Cup, and then the Euros again. And this, I think this team is definitely. I was, this is one of the teams that I've done a lineup for. In my head was rattling. I've left a very big player out of this starting 11.
Oh,
Um,
well, we'll leave that till the end, and I think I've got a team in mind also, so we'll see whose team is how our teams stack up against each other and how they compare to how De La Fuente starts, who's obviously a lot of credit needs to be given to him. I think he kind of goes under the radar a little bit in terms of managers across the world, but obviously very successful at club level. Well, as a player maybe, and then at Alaves he had a short stint as a coach there, and then just worked his way up, like the New Zealand boss, which we referenced to in the last episode. Like him, he's just moved his way up the Spain ranks until he's now been the head coach since 2023. 41 matches in charge of the Spanish national team and only lost three games. One of them, of course, against Steve Clarke's Scotland side. Another one denied them of going for the what you could say maybe a treble in international terms when they lost the Nations League final to Portugal in a really excellent game it was, two each. Cristiano Ronaldo scored for Portugal and they won on penalties to help them to their second Nations League triumph. And then since then it was qualifying and then the friendlies. They beat Serbia 3-0, drew nothing each with Egypt. Beat Iraq, no, sorry, drew one each with Iraq the other night. And last night, as we're recording this, they beat Peru 3-1. So, yeah, decent preparation, nothing ridiculous or incredible. A draw with Iraq and a win over Peru. It's not really, I think, going to change anybody's narrative on this Spain side. We know what they've got, and it's quality and abundance in that squad. And do you want to just get on to how we think they might line up, Alex? Is that probably the most entertaining part with a team like this?
Yeah, yeah, because I think the rest speaks for itself. Right, I've definitely gone for some interesting shouts, some personal preferences of players.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll start in goals then, because you may think based off one of the names that this is a maybe a simple decision, and I think it will be a simple decision. But Unai Simon has started being the number one for a while now for Spain, despite David Raya's success at Brentford previously, and now of course at Arsenal winning the Golden Glove this season and arguably being the best goalkeeper of the campaign across the world. Certainly, I would say one of the best. But who do you think is going to start in goals? And also you've got Juan Garcia there, who's an excellent young goalkeeper and done really well in his debut season at Barca. So
Yeah,
excellent talent.
I did think about Unai Simon, but I don't think you can look past David Raya.
Yeah.
The best goalkeeper in the world, with his feet. I think he pulls off some miraculous saves because he's not the tallest either. What is he, like 6 foot, 6'1"?
6 foot on the dot, it says here on FotMob.
Yeah, so he's not the tallest goalkeeper. But he pulls off some incredible saves. He's great with his feet. Obviously, like you said, the Golden Glove. I think he's established himself. I think there was a lot of questions when they brought him in and just chucked Aaron Ramsdale to the curb because Aaron Ramsdale had had a good season for Arsenal. But I think that decision is fully justified now, and he's established himself as one of the best keepers in the world. So I did think about Unai Simon because, like you said, he's established in the national team, but I don't think you can look past David Raya.
Yeah, I think it's getting to the point now where he's making it impossible for De La Fuente to look by him. There was a time where you could say, well, Simon's been there, he's done it, he's been the goalkeeper for numerous tournaments now, but Raya's your best goalkeeper, and despite who else was there, he's always going to be the best goalkeeper. But they've got excellent talent in that area, and whoever they put in goals, I'm sure is going to be able to be up to the task. But I think Raya probably deserves to start in that position, and I think he probably should do. Moving into what I'd imagine, like Spain, it always is a back four. We'll start at left back. I think this one's a pretty easy one to decide as well.
Yeah, I've got Marco Correa. Despite a poor season for Chelsea as a football club overall, he's still been very good. And after his sort of rough first year or so at Chelsea, I'd say Marco Correa has established himself as one of the best fullbacks in the world as well.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I think he was one of the standouts at the last European Championships as well. So I think that's one of the easiest positions to also select in this team. Maybe get into one of the more difficult areas to select, although I still probably have two in mind that I think will start based on recent tournaments and club form. Who have you got in central defence?
I've gone for Pau Cabarce and Garcia
Okay.
as the centre backs. I just think that's a really strong pairing. I think Eric Garcia is overlooked a lot of the time because he was sort of a fringe player at Man City, came into Barcelona, struggled a little bit there. A lot of these players have struggled for little periods and then just hit the ground running, Um, Struggled a little bit at Barcelona, but I think he's sort of established himself there now. Obviously, I think due to the emergence of Pau Barca, he's also been overlooked because Barca he's excellent. But yeah, I've gone for him and Eric Garcia and Pau Barca as the two centre halves.
Yeah, well, I think that is a fair selection, but I do think there will only be one Barca central defender in this team. I think De La Fuente will maybe go with Aymeric Laporte alongside Pau Cabarce.
I did think about Aymeric Laporte, but I was trying to be too edgy. I think I've done that, especially in the midfield. I've left
No,
out
I
some.
think I think it's a fair comment to make. You could say that Eric Garcia has been the better player recently, and someone who I agree with you really impresses, especially on the ball. At times, he's excellent. Of course, has the background as being a midfielder previously at Man City, but I think it will be the man who had more success at Man City. You could say in Laporte now at Bilbao, who played an excellent part in the last tournament. Also, who will start. Although really interesting that
Is he on loan there? Did they go there permanently?
he's permanently there now from Al Nassr. He was previously I think he was at the European Championships, or was he still at Man City? In fact, no, he was. Yeah, he was at European. He was at Al Nassr in the European Championships, and obviously the other player was that played a part in central defence. Was well two that are not in this squad: Nacho Fernandez and Robin Lenormand, who didn't get called up, I believe, because he's not in this squad in front of me, which was a little bit of a surprise. And another centre back who I was certainly surprised not to get called up is Dean Huijsen at Real Madrid. Of course, not a Real Madrid player selected in this squad, which is crazy to think about. But I think Dean Huijsen was certainly the closest that you could make a consideration for, especially when players like Pubil at Atletico Madrid have
Right, there's
been.
no Danny Carvajal.
No, I suppose he's been injured for a lot of the season, and I think
He's
that one
one
I can understand. But
he's one though that you might expect though, just to be
yeah,
there, like England obviously calling up Jordan
Jordan
Henderson.
Henderson.
He's
Yeah, no, I get that. I do get that, but I can understand why when we get onto the right backs, it's another very competitive area. But in central defence, I just think that to take Mark Pubil over Dean Huijsen, I just don't think. I think that's a bit. I don't know. It's just not what I would decide to do. I think Huijsen, he's not been excellent at Real Madrid. Don't think you could say any Real Madrid player's been excellent this season, but yeah, I just think that was a little bit of a strange one. But then again, I think Cabarce and Laporte are the two best central defenders that they have, left footer and right footer, and I think they will be the two that start. Right back, what are you thinking?
right. I have gone right. So obviously Pedro Porro plays a lot for the national team, but he's part of a Spurs side that nearly got relegated. I've gone for Marcus Llorente at right back. He's been solid for a number of years. I think he has had a good season at Atletico Madrid. So yeah, I've gone for Marcus Llorente, although I think it could go either way.
Yeah, I think it could go either way also, but I do think Pedro Porro may be more likely despite his club's performances this season. I think he will be the starter. Most likely, of course, it was Danny Carvajal at the European Championships before he in fact got that red card. The red card in the quarterfinals it was against Germany to help them get over the line, and of course then they went on to beat France and England in the final. But I think it will be Pedro Porro who starts at right back for Spain in this tournament. Although Marcus Llorente, I think, with his versatility, will have a part to play.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
What are you
So
laughing at?
just laughing because we're about to get on to the midfield. And
Oh, here we go. I know
that's
he's not. I know that you've not got in the team
that's
already, and I just know it's going to be absolutely disgusting. And you know what?
that's
I'm gonna
that's
say that. Right.
I'll
Okay. Go with your midfield then.
wait a minute. Pause a sec. There's someone at my door. All right. So I excuse that little break. There was someone at the door. But yeah, the middle. This was tough. This was really tough. My thought process. The reason I've left this certain player out is because I thought it would have been too much of a defensive midfield if I'd left him out. So
No, if you kept him in, you mean it would have been too defensive,
yeah, sorry if I'd kept
yep.
him in. So I've gone for Fabian Ruiz,
Right?
uh, Pedri,
Yeah.
and Danny Olmo.
I think that's too attacking. Why would you break the formula of the midfield that was the best at the previous tournament?
It's not too attacking. Fabian Ruiz and is sort of deep lying. Um, Pedri's not, he's not really. I think Danny Olmo brings the attacking sort of presence there.
No, I don't think. I think it'll be the midfield that started the. But there is a case to be made that the midfield was better when it finished the tournament because, of course, if we remember, they started with Rodri, of course, the Ballon d'Or winner because of his European Championship campaign. Pedri and Fabian Ruiz was the midfield three. For Fabian Ruiz, in fact, I seen Lamine Yamal saying the other day that he's one of the most underrated players in world football at the minute. I seen on Lamine Yamal's YouTube channel, in fact, it was.
I think he is though, because he plays beside two of the best midfielders in the world, and he is one of the best midfielders in the world also. But I just think he gets overshadowed by obviously the sheer pure class that is Vitinha and João Neves.
Yeah, I would agree. And of course, he's had a little bit of problems this season at club level with contract negotiations and stuff like that. But was certainly played a big part in the run in and the final for PSG as they held on to the Champions League once more. Uh,
He's had a hell of a few years, with Euros winner, back
yeah,
to back Champions Leagues.
yeah, I know it doesn't get much better than that, and he could go one better here, and I think he will have a big part to play. But of course, going back to the European Championships, Spain, Pedri got that bad injury. I think it was against Germany. Tony Cruz, I remember, and Tony Cruz's final game. In fact, um, it was a poor tackle, and then Pedri was out for the rest of the tournament. And then it was Dani Olmo who came in and really brought that new dynamic to the Spain team to great effect. I think he scored against France.
He's
Certainly
ex-
was,
he was
yeah,
excellent.
and was good in the final also. So I think Danny Olmo will have a part to play, but I think it's difficult to really displace any of those three midfielders that we spoke about, including Rodri.
Yeah, yeah, no, the midfield was a headache for me.
Yeah, of course we've got the likes of Mikel Merino, Gavi, Danny Olmo, who we mentioned. But
I think the middle of the parks are in terms of depth, it's their strongest area.
yeah,
Not in terms of the individual, obviously, because there's certain individual who's the best, like I said, the best player in the world, or
yeah,
one of.
and of
Um,
course we've got Martin Zubamendi in there who came on for an injured Rodri in the final and helped them get over the line in the European Championship. So they've got a lot of quality there who've been there, done it. A big miss though, I was really excited to see at this tournament after an excellent season at club level was Fermin Lopez, who's really been developing well at Barcelona. Got that unfortunate injury which keeps him out of the tournament. So that's a really disappointing one that I would have wanted to see him play a part. Again, I don't think he would have been able to break into the starting 11, but that's not really saying too much about him, more saying about the players that are in that position. But getting into the front three, I
I
think
think
these.
I think might be a bit dodgy in the front three as well.
You're wrong, Bree. You're going for something a bit rogue again.
I think the striker option have gone a little bit rogue.
Right, okay. Well, we'll see what you've went for the striker option because I think there is only going to be one person starting up front. I can imagine. I've seen a little bit of discourse on this, but I think there's only one contender to start up front for Barcelona, for Spain.
Oh, is that wee insight into
No, no,
you?
it's not. It's actually not an insight. Right, so who do you think the front three is going to be? Well, if everyone's fit, because as we said, I don't think Lamine Yamal is going to start the opening match or maybe the opening couple of matches, which I don't
If,
think will be too much of a problem for Spain.
if everyone's fit, I've got Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams,
Yeah.
and up top, I've gone for Ferran Torres.
No, I don't think. I don't. I think Mikel Oyarzabal's gonna start. I
You
think
think
he's
so?
gonna start through the middle.
You think so?
Yeah. 15 goals this season. Oh no, sorry, 18 goals this season for Real Sociedad. In qualifying, he had 6 goals and 4 assists in 6 games. Started all 6 games through the middle. I think he's gonna.
Ferran Torres has 21 goals this season.
Yeah, but Ferran Torres plays for a better team that creates more chances for him. Oyarzabal started all
There's
the
a,
games
there's
in
a reason. There's a
qualifying.
reason Ferran Torres plays for a better team because he's better.
Maybe, but I think what we've seen with De La Fuente is he's not as scared to play the players that he thinks are the best for the team. And I think he thinks that Oyarzabal's the best for the team based on the fact he started all 6 games in qualifying and played very well in those 6 games. I think but I think we'll probably see both of them start the first couple of games because, as we said, Yamal's not 100%. Torres probably does start the first couple of games alongside Williams and Oyarzabal, and then it'll probably be a case of whoever performs the best in those few games
Big,
that Yamal's away will get the nod for the rest of the tournament if Spain go far.
big Borja Iglesias is in with a shout.
I think he might have a part to play in somewhere down the line.
He's had a bit of a renaissance at Celta Vigo because 23 24, 23 24 was a poor season for him. Um, Playing at Betis and Bayer Leverkusen, he only scored 2 goals in that time. Um, for Real Betis, he didn't score for Leverkusen. Moved to Celta Vigo, got 11 goals and 3 assists this campaign. 18 goals and 3 assists. So it's been a bit of a renaissance for the 33-year-old, by the way. So yeah, um, he's been a decent goal scorer for the majority of his career. Also,
Right, yeah, I would completely agree with that. And I think he's a something different to. He's not maybe your traditional Spain striker that we've seen them play at tournaments for so long.
he's a bit of a tank, isn't he?
Yeah, usually we've got used to the modern day Spanish style of football with the false nine, sort of not really out and out number nines. You'll say that with Oyarzabal or Ferran Torres. They're not out and out number nines by any means.
I think
Um,
the last one I can remember was maybe Fernando was the
Fernando
last.
Torres, yeah, and even
Um,
still, he wasn't like a. You wouldn't really
he
think
was
of him as
more,
an.
he was more of a nine than like David Villa, and
Yeah, no, of course, but even still, he's not like a really like a 9-9 kind of like a complete number nine. If you get what I'm saying, Borja Iglesias is that, and he'll provide that sort of direct option. And he'll be a bit like Alvaro Morata. I think that experienced campaigner who sort of brings the front three together when he plays, of course.
Morata, he's one that seems to always have been cutting about Spain squads.
Yeah, I know, and of course he didn't score in that European Championship campaign, but I think he put in some really decent performances and did play his part. Of course, it was Oyarzabal that got the winning goal, and
He's only scored 1 goal for Como this season. Yeesh.
yeah, well, that's why he's not
You know what's
not
mad?
in the squad.
You know what's so mad to me? He's 33 as well, but
Yeah,
for some reason I feel like he should be younger than Borja Iglesias. I don't know
yeah,
why.
possibly.
Alvaro
Um,
Morata's got the Jesse Lingard syndrome, doesn't he? You just
what?
like you feel like he's always like 23 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's
no, I don't really get that with Morata though, because he has been about for ages and he's played for loads of teams. So, but
yeah,
no,
I don't get how he's just bounced around like the top
top
clubs.
teams across Europe. I know he's had a very successful career in terms of clubs. Alex, if you had to pick out three players from this Spain team to be the real three deciders that will take them to World Cup glory once more, who would they be?
Pedri, Yamal, and Pau Barsi.
Oh, Barcelona, the three Barcelona youth talents. Fair enough. I'd
Pedri,
probably,
Pedri's hardly like a youth talent anymore, is he?
but Pedri.
Yeah.
Well, some would say he's not really even a youth talent at all. With because he used to play for, was it Las Palmas? They signed him from. Yeah.
Man, he's
Uh,
still only 23.
yeah. I don't know what age you thought he was. He's still quite young.
I thought he was like 25 or 26.
He's played for ages.
He's been about forever, man.
I think this is going to be his fourth tournament because he played at the.
Mind that year where he played like 80 games or something.
Yeah, he
And
played.
there's that photo of him at the Olympics. He looks like death's door.
Yeah, yeah, I do remember that. But no, I think we've covered this Spain team to death, really. I think anything more to cover before we move on to the next team?
He's already nearly made 300 career appearances in club football.
He's 23.
23 years old. Kenny McLean's just hit 700 for country and club. What is he like?
He's
140?
33. Yeah, no, it's
He's
remarkable.
34. He's 34, Kenny McLean.
There you go then. No, I think the Barca talents will play a big part in this team certainly. But time to move on to Uruguay.
Yeah, if you wish. I don't know
Yeah.
Uruguay you'd want to do that, but
Oh no, that is absolutely horrendous from Alex. Uruguay, 17th ranked in the world.
that's
Uh,
far too high.
far too high. Are you not having it? Are you
A
not
team,
having Uruguay?
a team in turmoil.
Team in
Um,
turmoil. That's a bit. I'm not sure about that.
haven't won any of their last four games. Um, lost 5-1 to the United States in November last year. Um, they haven't played since March. So
That's
the
a bit strange. No, they must have played some warm-up games behind closed doors.
so yeah, I don't really rate this Uruguay team at all.
That is strange that they've only played like official game. They've not played any official games since March, isn't it? That's a strange way to prepare for a World Cup.
Very strange. And if you look at the squad, I mean, just disastrous from start to finish. Nah, they're all right. They're all right, but I don't think they're anywhere near the level of Uruguay squads of the past. I mean, they have some good players in there like Araujo, Oliveira, Jimenez, Bueno, obviously Fede Valverde, the other Araujo, Manu Ugarte, Salazar, Darwizzi, um,
Darwin
Rodrigo.
Nunez, for anyone who needs clarification on who that
I
is.
don't think anyone needs clarification on who Darwizzi is. Rodrigo Bentancur, Facundo Pelestri. So yeah, I mean they're all right, but I don't know. They just don't install the same confidence as former. I used to love Uruguay. I thought they were great. Like they had Diego Godin, Jimenez when he was obviously a bit younger. Luis Suarez, Caceres as well.
Oh
In
yeah.
his prime. Fernando Muslera.
Well, he's
Um,
still in the squad, isn't he?
he
Muslera's
is.
in the squad. He's just not expected to start. I think it's is it Sergio Roche?
Yeah, Sergio Rossi. But they're just, I don't know. I just don't think they're very good.
I think you're selling them a little bit short.
I've got them finishing pretty low in this group.
Oh, interesting. We'll get on to that. But no, I think the qualifying campaign was nothing special, but it was impressive. You know, it's a difficult region to get out of the CONMEBOL qualifying. They finished fourth after 18 games, 7 wins, 7 draws, 4 defeats, 22 goals scored, which was the fourth most, only behind Argentina, Colombia, and Brazil. They conceded the fourth least goals as well, only bettered by Argentina, Ecuador, and Paraguay. So the middle of the road in both of those categories. 28 points, which was actually joint with Colombia in third, Brazil in fifth, and Paraguay in sixth, just a point behind second place Ecuador. So, it was very tight in qualifying. It is strange that we're not really getting to see any immediate friendly matches to really look at how they're lining up and how they're playing going into the tournament because the recent friendlies since qualifying aren't great. As you mentioned, they beat Dominican Republic and Uzbekistan back in October. Played two of the hosts, as you said, drew with Mexico, were thrashed by the USA, and then drew with England at Wembley, which was a decently impressive result with a late penalty by Federico Valverde, and then drew with Algeria. It's as you said, they've got a few decent players in the squad. I think they've still got enough quality to threaten some sides in this tournament. Do they have the sort of same sort of big talent goal scorer that they once had in Luis Suarez? Of course they don't. I think a lot of Uruguayans disappointed to see him not called up, but at his age and the level he's playing at, I can understand why he hasn't been. But they've still got some quality across that squad, and I mean, you can make the case that Fede Valverde is one of the best players in the world. So I think they've still got.
Last season's MLS, he got 30. What?
What are you gonna say?
I'm saying still though, Suarez in last season's MLS, he got 34 goal contributions, 17 and 17. This season so far, he's got 6 goals and 1 assist in 12 games. He's
Yeah,
still playing quite well. Before that, he 25, 37 goal contributions in 37 matches at Inter Miami, at Gremio as well. Still um, playing to a decent level. A lot of people maybe thought he was finished when he went back to his Cup of Nacional. And then then he went to Brazil, and then he made a return sort of to more mainstream with Inter Miami, joining Messi, and he's been pretty good. So I don't know. I think I'd rather have an aging Luis Suarez than Darwin Nunez.
yeah, possibly, but Darwin Núñez has also been decent in the Saudi league for Al Hilal, 10 goal contributions in 16 games. Uh, but no, I think they have got talent. They have got talent across the squad. But the thing with Uruguay is it's always difficult to really gauge them and compare them to previous years because, of course, Uruguay have won the World Cup twice, and I know it was a long, long time ago, but they've also won the Copa America. What was that, 15 times now? Not since 2011 though, and yeah, they're obviously a very successful footballing nation, but you could make the case that they're a sort of sleeping giant compared to what they used to be. And I just don't think maybe the squad holds up compared to, of course, those levels. But I think they've still got a decent chance of doing something at this tournament and maybe reaching the latter stages, say a quarter final or something like that. I don't know if I'm not going to say they will, but I think they've certainly got a chance and they've got quality across the squad. Moving on to how we think the two-time world champions will line up. Obviously, 70-year-old Marcelo Bielsa, the former Leeds manager, Argentinian, is the head coach and has been since May 2023. Actually, I said about Muslera not starting. Apparently, some reports that he's been training the sort of preparation, which, as you mentioned, not a lot to go off of with Uruguay. The fact that the last sort of public friendly match was in March, so a little bit of guesswork here with the 11 as it has been for all of the sides. But this team that I'm seeing in front of me is a 4-4-2 that actually does have Muslera in goals. The vastly experienced goalkeeper, 39 now, at Estudiantes. And then it's a back four of Sanabria, Oliveira, Jimenez, and Varela. Because Ronald Araujo is injured. I imagine he will come into the start 11 once he returns, but he's a doubt for the opening games. And then a midfield four of Maxi Araujo of Sporting CP, Rodrigo Bentancur, of course, of Spurs, Manuel Ugarte of Manchester United, and Fede Valverde on the right hand side of the midfield. And then the front two of Darwin Núñez and Federico Vinas, the 27-year-old, who's on loan at Real Oviedo from Lyon this season and scored 9 goals in La Liga. So that looks to be some sort of predicted lineup.
I've got a completely different lineup from the Warriors of Uruguay on Twitter that I've just pulled up.
Okay.
So they have Roche in goals.
Yeah.
Oliveira and Jimenez as the centre halves.
Yeah.
Right back Varela, left back Viña. No Ronald Araujo there.
He's injured. He's injured. I think he wasn't in my team either. I think that's why he's not in the predicted lineups, because he's carrying a knock and probably going to miss the first few games.
Oh, right. All the Barcelona players, it seems. Manu Ugarte, Rodrigo Bentancur and Salazar, and a midfield three. And a front three of Fede Valverde, Araujo, and Darwin Núñez.
There you go. So how many changes was that in your team from mine? A couple?
No, it was a formation change as well.
Yeah, but it's not really too much of a formation change.
Well, you had a 4-4-2.
Yeah, but formations in the big 2026, who cares? They don't mean that much. Especially when you've got Valverde.
I hate all you football hipsters, man. Formations matter.
Not too much, especially when you get Valverde in your team. He'll play right back, right mid, left mid, right. He'll play everywhere. He'll be like, I don't think he'll have the same effect for Austria this time around, but David Alaba, if tournaments gone past, when he just goes wherever he wants, centre back ending up at left wing, or taking all the free kicks and penalties. That'll be Valverde.
He is very good on free kicks and penalties.
Yeah, yes. So I think that's Uruguay. The sort of main players for them in qualifying, where in terms of goals and assists was Darwin Núñez, 7. So he's maybe their biggest threat, apart from, I think you've got to say Valverde's the biggest threat though, and just in any area of the pitch, whether that be defending or going forward. I think he's probably the best player on both sides of that, in terms of sort of chances created and stuff like that. Nicolas de la Cruz, who is in the squad, I believe. I'm pretty sure he is anyway, although not in any of the predicted lineups which I have seen. And Valverde, Pellistri leading the way behind him in that metric. Yeah, Nicolas de la Cruz, who's been to a few tournaments now with Uruguay, maybe just falls unfortunate with some of the quality they've got in midfield, especially You think of Agati and Bentancur playing in the Premier League, and of course Valverde captain in Real Madrid. So, any more comment on Marcelo Bielsa's Uruguay squad? We're a wee bit, I think, blinded or in the dark. Maybe would be a better phrase as to what's going to happen with this team based off the fact we haven't seen any friendlies for months. So yeah, I don't know if that's a ploy. Do you think that's a ploy from Bielsa to keep everything sort of under
Does
the
seem,
wraps?
does seem like something he'd do, doesn't it?
Of course, he was the initial perpetrator of Spygate back in the day that went unpunished when at Leeds.
Did you see the Southampton manager did an apology and saying he because it's allowed in Germany, he didn't know it was against the rules. But
Yeah,
that argument doesn't hold an ounce of water when you realise he was the assistant coach at Barnsley. So I don't know. He's been around the championship for a while, so I don't know where he's getting these ideas from.
yeah. I think he might have been getting the ideas from the man himself, Marcelo. Anyway, we're ready to move on to the next team in this group. Where do you want to go next? Is it
Do you want to go to Saudi Arabia?
Yes, we can go to Saudi Arabia, who are the third highest ranked team in this group by just about the third highest ranked team in the group at 61st ranked in the world. Of course, came through the AFC qualification in pretty comfortable fashion. Well, maybe less comfortable than previous seasons for them, but they got through in the end. They had to go through the sort of second stage of the third stage. Yeah, it's pretty complicated looking from the outside to the AFC qualifying, but they go into big groups with the teams that have made it to the furthest, and then some of those teams go into, well, six of those teams, two from each of the three big groups, go into a final sort of second chance. Qatar and Saudi Arabia got through automatically in that. Saudi Arabia were in a group with Iraq and Indonesia. They beat Indonesia and drew with Iraq, but goal difference, and I think it must have been goals scored. Sorry, was enough to see Saudi Arabia through. Of course, Iraq did go through eventually, but that was through the playoff game which they played against UAE, and then who was that team we found out they beat earlier? Bolivia. It was Bolivia that Iraq beat, wasn't it? Yes. So yeah, Saudi Arabia had a decent qualifying campaign. Obviously, the manager is Georgios Donis, the 56-year-old Greek coach, has only been in charge since April 2026. So really fresh in that role. 2 games in charge, 1 win, 1 loss. They beat Puerto Rico, 3-0 on Saturday. And then previously, at the end of May, they lost 2-1 to Ecuador, also lost 2-1 to Serbia, 4-0 to Egypt as well. They're all friendly games after the Arab Cup and qualifying. So Saudi Arabia, it's always a difficult one to predict, Alex, but how do you think they can compete in this group looking on the face of it?
I think they will be all right. I think they will be in a position to progress. I've got them in a position, an interesting position. I think the one that will shock you is where I've got Cape Verde for this group. But yeah, obviously their star man Salem Al Dassari of Al Hilal, been there basically his whole career, apart from a very short stint at Villarreal, where he made 1 appearance. But he's an absolute machine in the Saudi Pro League. This season, a bit worse than previous. 11 goals and 8 assists, still very good. Last season, 26 goals and 18 assists for him. Previous campaign, 24 goals, 6 assists. So he's a known contributor. Obviously, everyone knows him, I think, as Saudi Arabia's best player. Would
Yeah,
you say?
yeah, of course. And memories of him scoring. It was at least was it both of the goals or one of the goals he scored in that win
He
over Argentina?
scored a banger, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah, screamer against Argentina. Of course, though, Argentina did go on to win that World Cup. So maybe if Saudi Arabia get a win over Spain, that's a good omen for the Spanish. But yeah, no, I think they'll be all right.
yeah. I
Who's
think I think they certainly have sort of the capabilities to compete in this tournament. Almost all of the players playing in the Saudi Arabian league as well, which is it's obviously improved in quality recently based off the sort of influx of big names coming across from Europe is going to turn up the quality of the league. It makes it more difficult for um, the actual Saudi Arabian internationals to get regular minutes. Of course, there is still a cap on the number of European and foreign players that are allowed to play in each team. But I imagine with the way football's going, that cap's going to be
is it?
extended and extended.
Is Al Dasari's brother in the squad?
Is that his brother?
I don't know. I'm just checking.
Yeah, that's obviously same namesake. So that is one to.
They're both at Al Halal.
Yeah, 7 years apart. A great age for to be still playing such a big part for Salem Al Dossary, the older of the two.
They're not
And
related.
no, just same namesake. And you spoke about Al Dossary, but for the national team, 108 appearances, 26 goals since 2012. He's been their main player for a while. The only player that's playing out of Europe that I forgot to mention, and it is Saud Abdul Hamid, who's at Racing Club Lens after spending the second half of last season at Roma, which didn't really work out for him. But he's played a big part in Lens' success this season. Of course, winning the cup and finished second behind PSG, a really respectable season for them in France. So yeah, I think Saudi Arabia,
They were top for a long time as well.
yeah, they were before PSG got into their groove. I've got a
That always happens in the French league. You think someone's going to do something in PSG, just get their act together.
Yeah, well, there has been a few occasions where the team's actually done something, but not for a few seasons now. I've got a predicted lineup here. I, I think this team again difficult to predict. Um, but this is the team I've got in front of me. So in goals is Al Akidi, back four of Al Harbi, Al Amri, Al Tambakti, and Abdul Hamid, of course, of Lens, as I mentioned. And then the midfield two of Al Kaibari and Kano, Al Dosari, expected to start on the left, Al Juwair through the middle and behind the striker, and Mandash on the right, and then Al Brikan is the lone striker in a 4-2-3-1, which is a formation we're seeing a lot across this tournament. I think it is one that
They did play a 4-4-2 against Puerto Rico on Saturday.
well, maybe that will be how they play it. That was just the predicted lineup that I seen there. Yeah,
They played a 4-4-2 against Ecuador. And they did play a 4-2-3-1 against Serbia, but that was back in March.
yeah.
So they could deploy a 4-4-2. But yeah, I think they're a decent side, and I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, I think I would possibly tend to agree with that. Just looking at the sort of key players from qualifying, in terms of goals and assists, Musab Al Juwair, who I said would be the sort of number 10 in that 4-2-3-1. He got 6 goals and assists. Firas Al Barakin, the striker, got 5. But kind of well spread out, which is sometimes a good thing, not too reliant on one player. We obviously spoke about Al Dossary as the sort of main player and the legend in this team, the experienced World Cup campaigner, of course, from the last time around. But it's good to spread the goals out and not be too heavily reliant on one player. So I think Saudi Arabia are in good stead going into this group, but it's going to be difficult. Uruguay and Spain are two top teams that will cause them problems, but I think they're certainly in it to compete in
Uruguay
this
aren't a
group.
top team.
But
Uruguay aren't a top team.
okay, okay, not a top team, but a good team. Will you give them a good team?
Not where I've got them finishing.
Oh, well, before we get on to the predictions, get on to the last team in this group.
Yeah, I'm excited about them.
Yeah, it's the debut,
Cape Verde.
yeah, Cape Verde, the debutants, one of four nations making the World Cup debut at this tournament. 69th ranked in the world, just behind Saudi Arabia. They topped their CAF qualifying group, featuring Cameroon, Libya, Angola, Mauritius, and Eswatini, suffering their only defeat in a 4-1 loss at Cameroon. Crazily enough, like a few nations actually, Ghana are one that also come to mind. Failed to qualify for the recent AFCON, but are obviously at the World Cup, which is really strange to think about. In the recent friendlies, they lost to Iran and Egypt on penalties at the end of 2025. See, for nations like Cape Verde, do you think they're practicing for knockout football and penalties?
I don't know.
Do you think they should be? Is my question. Or no, maybe I
Yeah,
shouldn't give our predictions of it. Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think they should be.
Yeah, well, okay, well, and of course, the thing that to notice from that was they lost to no, sorry, they lost to Iran and Egypt on penalties, so they drew with both Iran and Egypt, who, of course, in the same group as we previously spoke about. You can go and check that episode out. I imagine it came out the day before you this one was released. If you want to go and watch that one. And then in the most recent of the friendlies, they lost 4-2 to Chile, beat Finland on penalties, more penalty practice, and thrashed Serbia 3-0, which is an excellent result on the face of it. But I will caveat that by saying that the teams that are being used for the World Cup warm ups that aren't going to the World Cup, I can't imagine they're too motivated to play in the games. But take nothing away from Cape Verde. I've also used that sort of theory when trying to calm down Scots fans that are getting so excited about us beating Bolivia 4-0. But no, it looks like a good result and certainly must give those players confidence going into the first game, Alex.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot this was an audio format for a second there and just was nodding. No, but yeah, definitely. I mean, they've got some decent players as well. I think a 3-0 win over Serbia is massive. Obviously, they've got Jovan Cabral, who's formerly of Sporting Lisbon, still playing in the Portuguese league. This was the lineup they actually went with against Serbia that I've got down. If you want me to read it,
Yeah,
so
please
they
do.
had 4-2-3-1. Vazinha and goals, centre backs of Borges and Lopez, who Lopez obviously at Shamrock Rovers, who famously found out that the Curacao, that Curacao wanted him to represent them by
Cape Verde.
DMs. Sorry, yeah, Cape Verde wanted them to represent them by DMs on Instagram. We've got another Cabral at left back, Pina at right back, sent another Pina in the middle, alongside. I'm gonna pull this up again. I need to work on my handwriting. Just dreadful. Arcangel. The three behind the striker was Mendes on the right hand side, Montero, and behind the striker of Pek Zwolle in the Eredivisie, not great numbers, however. And then up top was Nuno da Costa, who is at Istanbul Başakşehir, but he's not had a great season either. But I don't know. I just think the 3-0 win over Serbia is massive. It just gives me big confidence for them. Another interesting thing is actually who's on their bench was Steven Moreira, who, of course, plays at Columbus Crew, was linked with Celtic in the January window, was spotted at Parkhead, and Rangers 3-1 win over Celtic. And then the next day, Wilfred Nancy was sacked. And then Moreira came out battering Scottish football for its quality. So a funny wee story there. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's always shocks and upsets at these tournaments. I think I'm just going off gut feeling rather than actual logic on this one.
Yeah, well, I think you've got to throw a bit of that into it because, as we've spoke about in our predictions, it's never going to go the way that we all think it to go, and it's never going to go the way that someone. Well, it's very unlikely that someone can predict every correct result and how every team's going to play and all that kind of stuff. You can only do your best collecting the most data you can to give an educated review, and that's what we're trying to do here. Obviously, the head coach, Babista, the 56-year-old, has been in charge since October 2020. They missed out in qualifying by just 2 points to the previous World Cup, so this was it was coming for them getting to their first tournament, and they've obviously got some decent players across the squad that you mentioned. They've got the experience of Vizinha in goals, the 40-year-old who's expected to start. Obviously, Chavez in the Segunda division in Portugal. And then they also have another player who I don't think is going to start. I don't know. I haven't. He doesn't look like he's going to start based on the recent friendly minutes. Is 38-year-old Stapira of Torrens, who I don't know if you've seen the excellent story in Portuguese football where he scored the winning penalty against Sporting CP in the cup final to qualify the second division side to the Europa League, which is an excellent story, and he hoped to carry some of that sort of underdog mentality into this squad to help his international team create even more history than they already have done so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd certainly have them creating history.
You're dying to give your prediction, aren't you? You're sitting there just dying to. I'm just going to go through some of the other players and some of the stories. You mentioned some of them already, but Roberto Lopez, excellent story at him at Shamrock Rovers, former Ireland youth international as well. The Stephen Moreira one's a really interesting story, of course, close to signing for Celtic. Probably would have done if Celtic were able to put in a second half performance against Rangers in that game back in January, but of course it wasn't to be for the champions or Wilfred Nancy as it was. And some other stories. No, they're not brothers. Are they brothers? The Duartes in midfield.
I think surely they are.
I seen a thing about the brothers at this tournament, and it was a ridiculous amount of them. And I can't remember seeing them, but there was a few brothers.
This is so random, by the way. Before I even was researching Cape Verde, I've got Deroy Duarte in a career mode right now.
Oh, of course you have.
Absolute pit bull in the middle of the park.
Is that what you're expecting from him in this tournament?
He's a tank, mate. You can't deny it. Good on the ball as well. His passing stats are quite good.
His passing stats are quite good. Yeah, they are brothers. That makes sense. They do look alike. So yeah, you've got the brothers in midfield. I think D-Roy probably the better of the two. Would you say maybe?
Because I was looking at the other one, and because they were both on the free agents list. And I was like, he's not that great. So I went for Deroy, the goat.
One playing in Bulgaria with the Goretz Razgrad, one playing in Hungary with the Puskás FC Academy. So
yeah, although De Roy's been knocked out my midfield recently because I got Florentin Tolisso on a free transfer.
Who's he playing for now?
Don't know, is he not still at Leon?
Oh yeah, I think he is. I think he is. Um, and then they've got some. You've got Gary Rodriguez. I think you mentioned him, 35-year-old. Um, I remember him. I think did Scotland play against Cape Verde in a friendly? I want to say, and he was playing a few years ago. I want to say that I'm not talking absolute nonsense, but maybe I am because I'm prone to doing that. But yeah, Gary Rodriguez, sort of streets won't forget player, I think, and at his age, he's going to get represent his country at a major tournament or a World Cup. As obviously they've been to, I'd imagine that is some Afcons um, in the past. But yeah, I think is that everything before we give our predictions in this group? As Alex is very eager to do so. Okay, so you want to start top spot in this group?
Yeah, top. I've got Spain.
Yeah, okay. Don't think that needs much explanation. I think, regardless of Yamal being fit for one game or three games, I think they'll top the group in pretty easy fashion as well. So yeah, Spain top. Second,
And second, I've got my goat, Deroy Duarte, and his Cape Verde.
that is a shout. That is a shout and a half. No, I am going to go for Uruguay. Going to be boring. I think Uruguay will get
Uruguay are
second.
going to be the shock, man. They're going to be bottom. They're
Okay, we'll
going out.
see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, because I've got Saudi Arabia in third, Uruguay going out bottom of the group.
Okay, that's a fair prediction. No, I'm going to go with Saudi Arabia in third and Cape Verde last, unfortunately.
Boring. Boring.
You can call it boring, but I think that's what's going to happen. And you know what? I've thrown in a few interesting predictions
Not
so far.
really. What's the most interesting one? South Africa in third.
No, there's been other ones. You're forgetting about it, and I don't want to spoil it. So, the viewers can go and
How
watch.
would
And
you, how would you spoil it if you've not seen it already? It's your fault.
you could say that, but maybe the viewers have only just stumbled across our channel or this video. And if you have done so, then please go and check out our other group previews. We give some other interesting predictions.
Like and subscribe. Let us know what you think of my amazingly interesting takes and Ethan's vanilla boring ones in the comment section down below.
Yeah, please do so. And please go and watch the other videos. Like and subscribe. You can also go and check us out on the TikTok where Alex has been uploading on there more frequently. You can check us out on the Twitter. And yeah, check out the rest of this series and the upcoming episodes that'll be coming in the coming days leading up to and during the World Cup, previewing all of the groups. All of the episodes will be uploaded to YouTube and Spotify. Thank you very much and goodbye.